Jodelle podcast. I am, as usual, Jodelle, and it's what if you could take all your supplements just by drinking water? And I've talked to this individual before, but we're going to go into detail a little bit more today about the importance of frequency and water and how this one device could simplify you to where you're getting those natural compounds your body needs, living in the natural world, but not having to take a supplement, because we're going to talk about today how supplements in pill form could actually carry things like heavy metals and pesticides. But if you could get a good quality water and somehow get your nutrients in that way using a digital device, why not? And why not have a pantry that has a whole shelf space full of nothing instead of all these supplements that are going to waste? So we're talking about that today. I've invited Anton Fedorenko back on. He is the founder and researcher from New Technologies, as well as Infopathy.com. Infoceuticals are this digital drug, if you will, that we're going to be talking about today, how you could actually not continue to spend all your money on these supplements, but actually infuse them or imprint them into your water. And Anton is the guy you want to talk to when it comes to this, because he's received his bachelor's in applied physics and mathematics and his master's in innovation and high technologies from Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology. And for 10 years, Anton has been involved with water-related projects where he not only conducted fundamental research, but he also developed water-related products and web-based platforms, which we're going to discuss today. So Anton, thanks for coming on again.
Thank you very much, Adele, for inviting.
Yeah, so we talked before about this, but a lot of people still don't understand. How is it that you could just drink water and get a frequency of a supplement? There's a lot that goes into taking like a vitamin C capsule and then somehow getting a frequency or a code out of it and putting it in water. So how does that happen?
Yeah, so we can start with actual like molecule, what happens when you drink some substance and how your body react. So there are different theories how it actually happens when you take some drug. One of them is a key lock principle. So you have molecule which has particular shape, and when it goes into body, it interact with the receptor, so it has also a specific shape. And when those shapes match, you will have some reaction. So it's like key lock principle. You have lock, you have keys, have specific shape, especially old keys, mechanical keys, I would say, have specific shape. To be able to open some lock, the shape should match. Then you turn it and you unlock the door, for example. And every like molecule pretty much have a specific shape, but there's also alternative theory which also have its support and publications and evidence that it's possible, that it's important to have not the shape, particular physical shape of the key, but its electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum of the molecule is defined how the atoms are positioned relative to each other, what are the like basic elements the compound is made from, their electron levels. All of this defines the electromagnetic spectrum of the molecule. And it is important then. So they say that there is possibility that our receptors reading not the shape, but electromagnetic spectrum. Here's also analogy. You had old key, as I said, mechanical, specific shape, but now you have new keys. You have a car key. It's maybe like any shape, but it have electronic device inside. You click on the button, it emits small signal, and it opens only your car on the parking lot. So you have 1,000 cars around. It targets like only particular car, it's your car. And it, again, doesn't matter what shape it has. It can work remotely. It can do the thing based on the electromagnetic spectrum. So there is also theory and a lot of work done with receptors located in the nose. They did even experiment showing it's possible. You take two molecules, have the same shape, about the same shape, but they have different spectrum. And when you like smell them, they will have about, so different spectrums, they have different smell, but same shape. So they will have different smell. And if you have same spectrum but different shapes, they will have like same smell. So pretty much based on this type of experiments, they showed that it's important to have different spectrum. So it means our nose and other receptors in the body can actually read the spectrum. Yeah, so it's important that, and the whole pharmaceutical thing is based on that. We need to have specific shape. So it's this law and this phenomenon was developed over like 100 years ago about the key lock principle, about the shape. It's still like used nowadays, but it's more evidence that electromagnetic spectrum is important. So then what happens? It is possible, also based on the research of Jacques Benveniste. He showed that you can put something in water, dilute there, then record electromagnetic signal from that diluted substance, digitize it. So now you have digital spectrum of the substance. And later on, you can use it through some emitting device. You can expose water to that signal, and water will be changed under the influence of that signal. There's also another theory of coherent domains, how it's possible that water molecules organize. It goes deep into the quantum electrodynamics, how molecules interact under the influence of the electromagnetic field. And when you expose water to a particular specific signal, those water molecules organize in the way that it's able to mimic the signal. So it's in some way water becomes like your car key.
Oh yeah. And I
Yeah, and
love your
then
analogy of the car key. Like that really can resonate with people. Understanding frequency is like when you go to
sure.
unlock your car and you're coming out of Walmart and you're walking towards your car, you press that key fob and it unlocks your car. You're not touching your car, but there's a frequency between your key fob and the car. And that's what we're talking about. Also, like you mentioned the aspect of water. There's water that it has to travel through. And when you mentioned our cells communicate. There's a frequency that they communicate through, like a little messenger that's an electromagnetic frequency. And so we can communicate things through the water in our body, just like we were going to be talking about today through the water that we imprint. So I love that you mentioned that, because this is a good source of frequency when we're trying to talk about getting nutrients into a water for us to drink. There's a lot of frequencies that aren't beneficial, and that's what interrupts our cells, like our smartphone or our Wi-Fi or our Bluetooth or whatever. These things can interrupt the signals. They're non-native. But I like what you're talking about is actually more like just writing a frequency in a water, drinking the water, and having it resonate with your body, just like a key going into a lock and unlocking a door. So yes, please
Yes.
continue.
Yeah, yes, correct. So when you have that water imprinted with frequencies, you drink the water, and water carries those coherent domains which mimic frequencies of the substance. So from point of view of some receptor, they doesn't know who emits the signal, whether it's molecule, like a drug, or it's emitted by the water, which mimics the drug. So they don't know. For example, there are some people who you have your key, but maybe somebody comes and steals your key. There's some like a scam kind of thing happening when maybe you're walking in this supermarket or that's how they steal cars, for example. Yeah. They come to you close to your door, they use antenna, so they can like record the signal from your car key or something, and then they have like a transmitter and another person stays near the car, so they kind of copying the signal from your key, and then your car thinks that you trying to open the door, but actually that's people who want to steal your car try to open the door, and the car like, okay, I don't know who it is, so I just open the door because the signal is the same. So like password is passes, and same thing here. You have water with the signals. Receptor doesn't know who is it, molecule or is it water imprinted, doesn't care. It just had this information input, and it's take that input and reaction happens. And that's pretty much like this, everything happens.
Yeah, and everything has frequency, correct? Like even a rock that's not a living thing has frequency, or some form of supplement that's in a capsule, a probiotic or a vitamin is going to have a frequency. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's everything, like everything, every substance, every atom, every element, it has pretty much not just one frequency, it's usually like a spectrum of the frequencies. The more complex substance you have, it will be a more complex spectrum. Usually any substance can be characterized by its frequency spectrum in the visible area. We also need to understand that electromagnetic frequency, they start from pretty much around 0, like 0 hertz, to I don't know, 10 point, like, I mean, there's no actual like limit how high frequency can be. Hertz, it means how much oscillations per second. Like 10 hertz, it means 10 oscillations per second. Like 1 power 10 hertz is this amount of frequency oscillations per second. Yeah, so and the higher frequency, it means that your field, electromagnetic field, oscillates from like -1 to 1, that amount per time per second, so it's pretty fast. And based on frequency, it has different properties. For example, short frequencies, it means fast oscillating. They can penetrate like not too deep. For example, like radio frequencies, lower frequencies, they can, go through buildings and even like through the planets sometimes. And because, when we listen to radio, we can listen inside of the house, even if we have all the windows closed. But light, it's also electromagnetic frequency, just particular range, what we can see, visible light, it's called. There's also like things we cannot see, like infrared light, and some kind of high ultraviolet lights we cannot see and everything about, but we can see, for example, light coming from sun. This is also high frequency electromagnetic field. So maybe somebody also doesn't realize, but yeah, when you have light, it's also a visible spectrum of visible part of the spectrum of electromagnetic frequency.
Yeah, there's frequency going on all around us all the time, because like you mentioned the word atom, when you go back to like 3rd and 4th grade science, it's like you break down the atom, it's always like vibrating or moving or oscillating, like you said. So, and everything has atoms of energy. So yeah, it's so interesting, like just stepping outside and standing in the sun with your feet on the earth, you've got a lot of frequency going on. You've got the frequency, the hertz of the earth is 7.83 hertz. So you've got that Schumann resonance, and then you've got the light penetrating you, which is the frequency. And how I get people to understand too, like we talked about the key fob thing, was also text messaging. Explain to me how a text message gets from my phone to your phone if there's no such thing as frequency. So people will understand that, because we're living in this tech world of like, how does your text message get across the planet if there's no frequency? So everything rides on frequency, everything is frequency. And you mentioned the light. Can you talk a little bit more about light? Because the way that you imprint this frequency into water, your device uses specific light. Can you talk about how light imprints frequency?
Yes, we use in our device, glowing ice pad, we have a coil which emits up to 20 kilohertz frequency, which is pretty low in terms of whole range of frequencies. Like if you take Bluetooth, it's a million times more like higher frequencies, and we use up to 20 kilohertz. And besides the coil emitting the magnetic field, we also have LEDs which emit modulated light. So like photons, lights, again, it's also electromagnetic field. It can interact with water, and we use it to enhance our imprinting. You can, like, it's not necessary to have light. You can only use electromagnetic coil and emit magnetic waves which will interact with water. But to enhance it, we also have modulated light. Light itself is used as carrier wave. For example, if you also listen like radio, it's usually like you have one frequency. Yes, you put your radio receiver at a particular frequency, but that frequency is modulated in specific way. So when radio station emit frequency, it's like, for example, like 20 megahertz, it's emitted, but it's modulated. Then your receiver is set to that resonant frequency, and then your receiver demodulate this frequency, decode it, and you receive actual like information back. So here we use light also as a carrier wave. It's modulated with our low frequency signal, it interacts with water and carries that additional input to the water. So yeah, for enhancing the imprint.
That's awesome. Yeah. And the reason I had you back on, Anton, is because I've been using the glowing IC pad now for over a year, and I don't buy supplements. I recommend them to clients because not everybody wants to infuse their water or imprint frequency in their water. But I myself don't use any because I can put anything I want in this water at any time I want based on this system that you've set up online where you pick what you want, you pick a vitamin C, and then you set your bottle of water on this little glowing IC pad, and you let it imprint for a few minutes, and then you have vitamin C in the water. And it's so convenient, and that's why I wanted to have you back on, because to me, it's like this is the way to take the digital world and the natural world and combine them in an easy way where you're not spending a fortune on supplements, and you can take whatever you need in the moment. If you're feeling sick, you can find an immune boosting complex. If you just need a specific nutrient, maybe you got a hair mineral test done and you notice that you're really low on zinc, you can take zinc. If there's even a medication. So I had my uncle stay with me for a while, and he forgot his Xanax. He takes Xanax to sleep. And I said, humor me and let me imprint Xanax into the water for you and go to bed with this water. And he did. And he woke up the next morning and goes, where do I get one of those devices? Because he felt the same effect that he gets from his Xanax for sleep. He did not suffer that night in his sleep. And that was huge for him. He saw that as like, wow, I don't have to take a pharmaceutical, and yet I can get the benefits of the frequency of the pharmaceutical. Then why not? Because explain to me how you can do this with medications too. These are synthetic materials, and yet you can't really overdose on them. You can get just the effects of them without what I've seen. You can get the effects of them without the side effects. Can you explain that?
Yeah. First, I want to know that our official thing, we don't recommend to exchange, like to replace in any medication supplements.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's like from us,
Right.
like people can do whatever they want, and people like doing that
Yes.
at this moment. It can be like our official suggestion, but if people do that, they replace medications. They usually start using imprinted water additionally to medication, and then every week reducing the dose by like 10%, and they find it successful. Your uncle, yes. And some people actually, one on like another story, I remember, well, one person, her thyroid medication finished, and she couldn't drive to the pharmacy, so she's like, okay, now I'll just use water. So it's in some cases people just have to do it because they didn't have medication. So and she did it, and then like, okay, I don't actually need to drive now to pharmacy.
Yeah.
Because she had thyroid issues she's had like since like 20 years old, and that time she was already for 40 years using medication, and she would have times when she forget to use medication. She knows how she feels without medication. So when she took the imprinted water, she said it was like I actually took medication based on how she felt. Yes, and about like how it's possible that it doesn't have like side effects. That's what we're observing. For example, the water imprinted is not equal. First of all, it's not equal to the water with like dissolved actual substance.
Right.
When you have actual substance, yeah, it's like a physical thing. Pretty much, it's a material. You put it in your body, then your body, first of all, like react to it. Yes, through again different mechanisms, and then second step, body have to kind of get rid of it. Maybe like break it down, or somehow just like, it depends also if it's like water soluble, it will be easier just to like pee it out after. Maybe it will be stuck in your body. And depends also how long it will take for the substance to get out of the body. So if it will be like for like a week or months in your body, it will affect not only those particular targets which it's made for, but may affect some other things, and it will cause like unwanted effects. Whether like when you have imprinted water, it's from one side is like advantage, and from another side is disadvantage of the imprinted water, or it's like weak side. So imprinted water, it can, when you put it in a body, your body like, so in Celsius 36.6, I don't know exactly in Fahrenheit, Yeah, this is your normal body temperature. It's a little bit too hot for imprint to stay, like to exist for a long time. So it's actually exists in your body for like 5-10 minutes. Then it slowly, because of the heat, the structures in the water, they don't stay too long. They start to like break apart, and that's why the effect will be usually more gentle. Again, it depends on the person, how fast it's getting digested. We always recommend to drink water on empty stomach, because in this way it will be digested faster. Like in 5 minutes already will be in bloodstream. But if you drink after food, it may take like even 1 or 2 hours. So it's always recommended to drink water before food, imprinted water, and regular water also before food. Yeah. So when you first of all, it's kind of stays for short time. That's why I also recommend to drink water more often, not just like once a day. Yeah, you have to drink more often, but you're anyways drinking water during the day, so it's okay. But the advantage of this, so it's not gonna stay in your body for long. It's not gonna, first of all, it's also not the physical, like a substance, and it's not gonna just stay and continue traveling the body or getting built up in the liver or somewhere, damaging organs. It's again pretty much as a signal. It came there, it's made its effect, and it's just kind of disappearing in the body, just becoming a normal, regular water. So this is one of the theories why there is no like side effects when you have imprinted water.
Wow. And I would assume that there's also fillers and other chemicals that they're putting in medications that those have frequencies. And when you're imprinting, just like for example, say the Xanax, you're not getting all those other fillers and chemicals and their frequencies. So that's gentler on your body too. You're just getting the frequency that unlocks those cells you were talking about in the specific medication or supplement. So I think that's really interesting that you can take something that in the synthetic world is actually could be dangerous, but in the imprinting world is actually quite safe to take. So I like that.
Yeah, what also we noticed in some cases, if you, for example, even take, like there were experiments done with penicillin and effects on the yeast, and usually it should kind of kill the yeast, reduce its activity, etc. Depends on the dosage. But what we found that imprinted penicillin into water and then added to the yeast with sugar, etc., they were actually like had more like better life. They produce more like CO2, etc. So it's interesting that so pretty much from all the experiments we found out that it's not possible to harm the body, even if you imprint the poison. It's not going to harm the body as would actual poison do. So it has, we can see that it has different like effects, how in the homeopathy, when you have high dilutions of the poisons, they actually become like high dilutions of poisons or some like toxic materials, it's actually will become like beneficial for your body. So we see it's also substance have different effects in different dosages. It has also different effects on the body. So when you imprint it into water and drink it, it's not gonna have that bad part, but it'll have only like good effect. Yeah, and we see it also because it's has informational effect. So it's more like not coming and telling body, okay, you have to do this. It's more like coming into body signals and, okay, I suggest you do this. And body like, okay, yes, it's kind of beneficial for me. Yeah, so the body will do it.
Yeah.
And so it will bring body to the higher potential, which body needs. But if it's will be bringing body to the lower potential, body seems like don't want to do it and not going to do it. Also, I like a little analogy with this. It's maybe a little bit negative analogy, but it's kind of possible to damage the body. Usually I say kill the body like with like a knife or something, but it's hard to convince somebody to go and kind of like kill themselves. If it's like a normal person, you probably have to spend like a lot of time to just tell a person like go jump from the bridge, Like, what are you doing? I don't want to. It's like it's not good for me. So I'm not gonna do it. And it's like informational, like influence from just few messages. Nobody gonna do it. But yes, people carrying some physical high zone can damage someone's body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a similar kind of like analogy here.
Yeah. No, that's really fascinating. And what I think is so cool, like I said, is like there's a lot of biohackers or people out there that we have this realm of things that we want to try or supplements that we really think are needle movers, but it's hard to keep them all on hand. It's expensive. But you have developed this library on infopathy.com, and I'll have all the links in the show notes, but you can literally go in there and find anything. I mean, you're hard pressed to find something that's not in there to where at any given time, if a biohacker wants to try, C60, or they want to try, a specific probiotic, or they want to try like a peptide, everything is in there. And then you can build what's called complexes of like your favorite
Mhm.
ones. And I have a whole library of different complexes that I've built because I like all these minerals together, or I like these heavy metal detox together. And I wanted to mention that because I have a lot of clients coming in with heavy metal toxicity or cellular resistance, I call it, where their cells have just become overdone with all of the issues of our world today. Like we're being
Mhm.
sprayed with heavy metals, and we've got all these different pesticides and glyphosates in our food, and our bodies are just becoming this toxic soup. So I'm having to
Mhm.
detox a lot of people. And when you talk detox supplements and going through some of these major companies that charge like hundreds of thousands of dollars for detoxes, or going to a clinic and getting a heavy metal injection where you're getting IVs every week of EDTA or whatever it is, it's thousands of dollars. And yet there's cellular detoxes that you can just simply drink water every day, and you're doing a slow, easy detox to where you're not overwhelming the body, you're not getting a Herxheimer reaction, you're getting those heavy metals out, and you can feel the difference. And especially with candida, I'm seeing a lot of people with candida. There's different
Mhm.
compounds you can take or different complexes you can put together that can combat the candida that we're seeing so prevalent in everybody. So I wanted to ask you that question. So there's things like a probiotic or a bacteria in there that you can put in a water. Now these would be living organisms. How do you take like the frequency of a living organism like a probiotic and make a code or a frequency that goes into the water? Is this something you have to get the substance first and then dissect it and figure out what its
Mhm.
code is, or how does that work?
Yeah, so yeah, right now we're not doing any like calculations on what substance. So we're actually recording the signal from the compound. It can be a simple one molecule substance, or it can be complex thing as a like biological organism, like leaf or herb
Mm-hmm.
or bacteria, mushroom, like anything like this. So pretty much in our system, we have so in some way, analogy will be here. If you make in a picture something, so you illuminate with a white light. If you go in the black room, there's no
Mm-hmm.
light, and you try to make picture, there's nothing you can see. But with a camera, you have flashlight, so you illuminate with white light. Is also um, electromagnetic spectrum of many different frequencies, like whole spectrum of all visible light frequencies. So you illuminate room, then depends on the color of the object. Also, paint has its own spectrum. So if you see blue, it means that that wall absorbed all frequencies, but
Mm-hmm.
only reflected the blue frequency, blue light frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like different objects, like purple, like brown. So it can be combination of different colors. And when you illuminate, like different parts of the wall or the objects absorbed some frequencies and some they reflect, and then your camera captures what was reflected, and then you have a picture. So here we have similar system, but not with light. We have also electromagnetic uh, coil system. One emits white noise, so it's also noise which has frequencies from 0
Mm-hmm.
to 20 kilohertz.
Yeah.
Then you shoot the frequencies through the substance diluted into the water. Usually it interacts, and on the other side you captures whatever like resulted from interaction of that white noise with substance.
Mm-hmm.
So then then that coil picks it up, and you digitize the signal in this way. So it's not doesn't matter whether it's like one substance or sorry one molecule, or it's very complex So if you take some leaf or some herb, it probably will be like 1,000 different molecules inside, like including like DNA of it and many different compounds, what is inside. So hold that thing, you then digitize and you receive the spectrum. So it like always will be like for every substance, everything will be different unique spectrum.
Oh, that's amazing. And you're always adding new complexes and new
Yeah.
substances because I just
Yes,
got
we
an
have.
email of new things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have one of the practitioner in the France. He's our partner, so we create things. Plus, we have partners whom we trust and whom we taught to use like our recording kit and our method to create same way signals. So the always last step of the preparing signal on our side. So when they record the raw signal, then we process the signal and add them to Infopathy. So for one practitioner in France, he right now very dedicated to create a whole library of homeopathic remedies, because like also one of the motivations, because in many countries, I think not many, but in some countries, homeopathy maybe will be like prohibited something. So he wants to make sure this library of all homeopathic drugs that people remedies people developed will be digitized and available for people.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that, about how supplements are discontinued a lot, or, different proprietary blends are discontinued, or even medications are discontinued. So by him taking these homeopathic drugs and making frequency out of them, he's like ensuring that whoever needs these will be able to access them through an imprinted water. That's amazing. I love that. And so the idea I was talking about earlier too is that supplements in general, like a pill or a potion, these can be, if you don't know the company they're coming from and their third-party testing, or you haven't like looked at the authenticity of it, they can contain heavy metals and they can contain pesticides. And a lot of supplements are using, tap water to make like some sort of tonic or whatever. We have no idea what they're using, and we could be getting small amounts of glyphosate and stuff like that. So if you are taking supplements, you need to really do your research on where they're sourcing their products from. But you could just wash all that away with like imprinting your substance into a water and drinking that, saving money and saving the effects of those heavy metals and pesticides on your system. So I love that aspect of it. The other aspect of this frequency is that these pads can actually be used on the body, right? Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
So pulsed EMF is kind of a big deal right now. There's a lot of products out there that offer it. And this is a device that not only will work with imprinting your water, but it works on your body. So tell me about that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, device itself, it's just emitting device. It doesn't contain any like database of the frequencies, but you need to connect it to your computer or the phone and go on the website, and website has all the signals.
Right.
Yeah, so in some way it works as a speaker, or like pretty much as a speaker, but instead of emitting sound waves, it's emit magnetic waves, the coil and modulated light, as we discussed before. Originally, we only had signals recorded from substances, but later, because our platform was suitable to also storing, and device was able to emit signals, we added also whole and continue adding a whole library of pulsed electromagnetic frequencies, ICs. They usually also up to 20 kilohertz frequencies, instead of the, like when you listen to music, it's usually like sine waves, which goes like this, but pulsed waves, they're square waves. So it's like when you emit it, it's like small pulses. Depends on the frequency. It can be like 10 pulses per second or like 1,000 pulses per second, very fast. It also has actually this one even more understandable for people usually, and it's because you affect body directly, so you exclude water from here. So a lot of people using PMFs on Infopathy, some people just using them, and you affect body directly. It's understandable even more how it's like from scientific point of view. Like water research continuing, and there is a lot of interesting things, but this one, like I'll say, more traditional stuff. It's even if you Google who like using it, you can find even patents from NASA who use it for their like astronauts to help with strengthen the bone and muscle for the astronauts who go into space and coming back, and they need to do rehabilitation. And our body also, but some people also don't understand how it's possible that like some kind of little magnetic waves, weak, even relatively weak magnetic waves, can do some effect to the body. And we need to understand that our body is not just some like rock, but our body it's very much electromagnetic. Our body is, our blood has all these ions flowing around, and our cells has charges. I think somebody was calculating if you put together all our cells in one line to create a huge battery, it would be like worth of charge, some kind of billion volts or something.
Wow.
It can just it's very charged, our body, and on every cell you have different potentials. And so if you emit electromagnetic wave, it always can interact with things with electric charges, which we have a lot of in our body. So in some way, we are big, like not big, but we are like biorobot in some way. Yeah, we have all of this, it's meat, etc., but it's a lot of electricity happening in our body, and our body can interact with magnetic waves and electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which from one side can be like beneficial when you use some correct frequencies and try to regulate something. At the same time, when you like exposed to high frequencies, like X-ray, or some people are more sensitive to lower frequencies like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cell towers, that can affect people in a negative way. Yeah, it's our body can interact with those things, but so it has positives and negative possibilities.
Yeah, you segued perfectly into my next question, which was like, okay, so there's non-native EMF that's dangerous. Like I'm always telling people, don't carry your smartphone in your pocket. Don't have your Wi-Fi on when you're trying to sleep at night. Turn your Bluetooth off when you're not using it. All of these things are frequency to our body that can actually be detrimental. It robs our mitochondria of energy. It contaminates the cell signaling to where the messages won't get heard right by the cells, so you'll have hormonal imbalance. But why then is PEMF safer for men? How does it heal? Because truth be told, this device and something called a flex beam, which was red light therapy, pretty much remedied my husband's meniscus that he tore recently. I had him put the glowing IC pad, and I put on a meniscus PEMF, and I had him hold it right on the meniscus itself. And over time, between doing that and alternating with red light, he actually has no limp. He's doing fine. And this is an injury that usually people deal with for like, it's ongoing off and on for like a year before it really gets better. And I think that the PEMF sped up the recovery of his tear. So can you explain the difference of how one can be really good and one can be really dangerous? Is it the high and low frequency, or is it something else?
Yeah, it's pretty much the high and low frequency, and different frequencies you target different things. It's like also with radio stations. When you set your radio to particular frequency, you only will hear that frequency. Out there like hundreds, maybe different radio stations, but when you set your receiver on particular frequency, it will resonate only with that frequency. So other frequencies will be ignored by your radio station. But in our body, we have different radio receivers, so to say. So some of them will be resonating with one frequency. So if you think maybe some particular cell, it will resonate with particular frequency. And it may change its resonance frequency a little bit, but it usually stays in that one. So it will be always affected mostly by that particular frequency. Some other cell and like system of the cells may be affected by different frequency. So you have all the different organs and the systems in the body which can be affected by low and high frequencies on different processes. Even as you mentioned, some signal transmission in between cells. Some cells even I don't remember if it was done like in the human body, but pretty much there was research almost like 100 years ago also, when one researcher was studying the growing roots of the onion. He found out that when cells divide, they emit very, very like small ultraviolet light. So our cells also can communicate through those like high frequencies between themselves. And usually what a PMF does, and there's of course a whole lot to research and understand, but it affects the like ions in the body, those relative low frequencies inside. When you affect some, when you expose it to the body, it affects the ions moving electric charged particles through the body. It can speed up their transport. It can increase the nutrients coming into the cell, which is good for the cell. When we talked, by the way, like this is like PMF, when you also mentioned infrared lights, or red lights, which we also have in the device, and when you use it directly on the body, we recommend to set up device into the red mode. Red lights also interacts with cells, not only mitochondria inside and increase its energy levels, but also with water itself in the body. For example, this research which developed by the Gerald Pollack about the exclusions on water, he showed that under the influence of infrared light, you can increase that EZ levels, exclusion on water levels in the body. They even built the battery, almost like a cell of water, which absorb infrared light from the room, because everywhere we have also infrared light around us. Because if you have any warm surface, it's always emit infrared light, and some level of infrared light always there. So that water can absorb that infrared light and increase their energy levels and then work as a battery. So they were able to power little LED light just by sticking it into the water. And the water was absorbing, so it's in some way as a solar panel. You know, we have light hitting the solar panel and then it converts to electricity. But here, instead of like some solid materials which are used in the solar panels, it was just water was used as absorbent of the infrared energy and converted it to electricity. In our body, we also have lots of water. When exposed to the infrared light, it absorbs that energy, and it's pretty much as if charging your, you charge your phone, you can charge your body with infrared light, with PMFs.
I love that. What you just said about infrared light is like something warm, because I feel like people are drawn to things, like your pet. You want to hold your pet and pet your dog or pet your cat. You're actually getting light from them. We don't think about that. Or you want to snuggle with your spouse or your loved one. You're actually getting light from that. We don't see that light, but you're feeling the warmth. You're getting the light from it. And that's maybe why this new IC pad that you have, it actually has infrared light in it. So I've been seeing the effects of the water maybe feeling stronger. We're going to talk about dosages in a second, but tell me why this new IC pad has infrared light technology in it.
Yeah, previous iPad only had blue light, and at that time it was, I think, 2019 when we developed it. At that time we only had library of imprint ICs. Those you imprint to water and then drink water. No, we were not even thinking applying that device directly in the body. So blue light was selected because it has high frequency than red light. So it would be better to modulate it, to use it as a carrier wave. So we had only blue light. But then when we developed the library of PMFs, which should be used directly on the body, also like because of research, which light is better to apply to the body, and many people like requesting have like a red light, well, we added it. And now when you apply PMF directly to the body, you can put red light mode.
So is it also infrared and red light? Because I know they're different. So are you getting both benefits?
Yes, you have, so we have 3 different types of LEDs on the device: blue, red, and infrared. And you have a button on the device, turn on device, and then switch different light modes. So when device is on, you can click on the button and you will see which lights are on. Infrared light will be always on with any mode, because you cannot see it, and it has always benefits whether you imprint in water because also it's create that easy layer of the water, which considered to be responsible for imprint storage. So you always have that on, but you also don't see it. So don't think those LEDs are broken. They're actually working. And if you have, how to check that, if you have, one of those like night vision cameras somewhere in the house, you just turn off lights in the room, or at nighttime when there's no lights, you set your device to just infrared light. And transfer some IC, you will see the indicator like flashing, that's transfer is ongoing, but all LEDs will be not flashing. But if you put that thing in front of your night camera, that camera will see that those LEDs are illuminating light. Yeah, our eyes didn't see it, but cameras are built in the way they can see in dark. They have their own infrared lights to illuminate your room. Yeah, it's like crazy, when you think about it.
Yeah.
There are some things that you cannot see, but they exist. For example, this infrared light, those cameras and night vision, they have their own built-in infrared lights which illuminate room, but you don't see it, but camera see it because it just can see larger range of spectrum of frequencies.
Yeah, it's like electricity. You don't see it, but it's there. Like you flick on the light in your bedroom and suddenly the light bulb goes on. You don't see that flash of electricity through the coils, but it's there. So it's like there's a lot of things that people have to see to believe, but you shouldn't have to, because there's a lot of really great things that you don't see, like frequency. So can you briefly, I've had lots of topics with different guests about the benefits of red light and infrared light on the tissues of the body, but maybe you can briefly just talk about some of those benefits.
Yeah, one of the benefits, it's usually considered to be increased healing and just restoration, because it's just speed up process and giving energy the body needs to do the things, increasing circulations in the body. Yes, so in some way I would summarize it as just setting the body to the high energy level, pretty much. And then like body in general can do a lot of things and are very strong, but sometimes it needs, it needs like food, it needs energy, and that energy also should come to all the areas of the body. Sometimes maybe of some blockages, it's not going to a particular spot, so you need to pump that area up to remove those blockages and kind of start body restoration.
Yeah, you just gave me an idea. I had a light bulb moment. So this IC pad is about the size of like a man's bald spot, maybe a little bigger. And so I'm thinking all the guys out there that are worried about hair, they could actually put it right on that little bald spot and shine it like every day and see what happens, because there is a lot of research out there on red light therapy and hair growth. And now that you have the red light in the glowing IC pad, why not go in there and find a hair loss PEMF, because this library we're going to talk about next. So it's Infopathy has set up this whole library of anything and everything you could want, from pulsed EMF to imprinted vitamins and nutrients like we've been talking about, to pharmaceuticals, to peptides. Everything is on there. And so you literally go through and just pick what it is you want and put it on yourself, or put it in your water, set it on there, and away you go. So this is like a really great library. We haven't really mentioned to them what Infoceutical is, other than what we've been talking about. So maybe explain, when you say IC and complexes, what that is, and then we'll go into the details of how to do it.
Yeah, originally IC, it was because we also had only imprint ICs recorded from substances. So IC we called informational copy. Like of something. So that's what IC standard for. But now we added also PMFs and audible signals, protocols. So, but we still call everything IC without like explaining that IC means informational copy. So IC you can consider as a signal. Yeah, whether it was recorded from substance or whether it was generated as a sequence of various frequencies.
And it also could stand for infoceutical too, because that's what you guys call some of these, is infoceutical, like informational copy. So yeah, so somebody puts the water on there. How much water do they have to use? And there's different levels of how long you can imprint something. Like you can imprint it for 2 minutes, you can imprint it infinity amount of time.
Mhm.
Does it get stronger the higher you imprint it, the dosage, or is just 2 minutes good enough for everybody?
Mhm.
Like, let's explain the dosage.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of dosage, there is no way to calculate if you use some particular substance in like 100 milligrams a day or
Mhm.
something like that. There's no like, okay, I'll put it to 3 repeats, 6 minutes, and I'll have that amount of dosage. So it's work differently, and there's no way to like calculate, because also will be different for a different person,
Right.
how well they like how well their body can accept the information and process the information. So overall, we like the basic things to start with. We recommend, if you're using the glowing ice pad, just 2 minutes imprinting water and drinking it, because for some people and for some like particular ICs, like detox related ICs, for some people it may be even too much to have 2 minutes imprinted water.
Yeah, sure.
They may do even like 1 minute, but we overall for most of the ICs recommend to start with just 2 minutes of
Hmm.
imprinting, and the longer you imprint water, the imprint becomes stronger. Um, right now with previous version of SPAD, we have some study that after 1.5 hours of imprinting, your water will get its maximum level of strength,
Okay.
and so it's kind of get saturated with imprints. And after that, you don't need to imprint longer. And but it's not linear increase. So it's pretty much after, if you imprint water for 6 repeats, it's already very like strong enough and print for all your needs. But some people, again, it depends on the people. On
Hmm.
average, people imprint it for like 10-12 minutes with the ice pad. This ice pad, you can put like half a gallon bottle of water on it and drink the water during the day. Yeah, the minimum recommended, what we suggest at once to drink, because we recommend to drink it more often. Yeah, minimum to drink 2 ounces at
Hmm.
water at a time, and
Hmm.
like it's almost like a small sips during the day. Drinking like whole bottle at once, it doesn't do much effect, because it still contains the same amount of information. Like if you read one book and then you read same 10 other books, you read, I mean, like you read the same book 10 times,
Yeah.
you'll get a little bit more, but you still it's not like new, it's not a lot of new you're gonna get from there, because it's the same information. But you need to have um, um, some minimum amount. Also, we recommend to hold water in your mouth for at least 10 seconds
Hmm.
before you swallow it, because already some absorptions start happening in effects in the mouth. And as mentioned before, drink water on empty stomach.
Hmm. Yeah. So the minimum is 2 ounces. Now, what if they wanted to imprint a whole bottle and then they keep it like in a fridge or in some sort of container? Do you recommend keeping it cold? Do you recommend keeping it in like a metal container to prevent other frequencies?
Mhm.
Can that happen? Can other frequencies imprint on the water if we're not careful?
Already when water just standing out there, it's getting like effects from like surrounding, even light, as mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
it carries the information.
Mm-hmm.
It can impact the water. And, and some people even asking, what can I do to clean my water before even I drink it? When they bring it from the store, from the bottles. So one thing you can do, you can just let it stay for several days in your home, so it will be already rested, relaxed from those impacts mostly. And then you can imprint it. First of all, yeah, when you imprint with something, whatever previously was in the water will be partially removed. That's why if you want to imprint several substances, several ICs into the water, you need to put them into complex and imprint them at the same time. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you imprint one and then another, the first one will be partially replaced with the second one. So you have to create complex, imprint it at the same time. Then yes, you can, after you imprinted water, for example, in the glass bottle, you can pour it into the metal container. It will also help to shield water from like any electromagnetic fields out there, whether it's cell tower,
Mm-hmm.
Wi-Fi, or just like even sun. You can store it in the fridge. It's also good, because the colder the water, but not frozen, like 2-3 degrees of Celsius, it's where the water is more dense, and it will remain structured the best in this way. But room temperature is also okay. Yeah, like pretty much up to 30 Celsius to 86 Fahrenheit, it's still good.
Okay. And then how long would it stay in a glass bottle with the frequency versus a metal bottle?
The metal and glass. So in general, like glass is good for imprinting because also of the hydrophilic surface that increases the exclusion of the water, which is responsible for storing. It's good, the best to imprint in the glass. For the storage time, it will be like about the same. But again, if you don't have like sources of electromagnetic field, like smoke, electromagnetic for smoke, if you have glass bottle, you can also cover it aluminum foil, or we have those fabric pouches that you can get. They made from silver fabric, and they shield EMF. Yeah, so this is like one of the options what people can do additional to protect the water. But overall, when you imprint regular water, drinking water, it can stay imprinted for 3 days. Slowly print intensity kind of goes down, but for 3 days it's still good. You can drink it during 3 days, and after 3 days you can reimprint the water if you didn't finish it, or just have new volume of water and imprint it again and continue drinking. So every 3 days you have to imprint the drinking water. And there is also one method for 30 days storage time. You can create a small tincture, add there some trace minerals or sea salt, some mineral salt, Himalayan salt. So that will add minerals to water and make it more stable for imprinting, for storage the imprint. So you have a small tincture with added minerals, and you imprint it. Also, because it's also small, you can easily to cover it with aluminum foil, for example, to shield it from electromagnetic fields. You can use that little bottle for 30 days. And then some people just put drops in the mouth and just getting absorbed there. Or you put 10 drops in the glass of water, stir it, and drink the water. So it's almost become like taking some liquid supplements. You take 10 drops, put in your water, mix it, and drink it.
Okay, so in that case, they wouldn't be taking in 2 ounces, though. They'd just be taking in drops. Would that be enough?
Yes.
Like, are people noticing the difference even with drops from tinctures?
Yeah. So that's with drops, you just need to hold them in the mouth until it's get absorbed. And some people, there is a lot of experiments people doing. Yeah, the whole platform, I would say, it's like a big play field, and there's a lot of things that people can do. Some of them who comes, for example, from homeopathy, they have a lot of experience of even imprinting the sugar beets. Those sugar beets, right? They sometimes put a little bit of water on them, so make them moisture, and put them on the icy pad to imprint, and then they just put 2, 3, 4 sugar beets at a time in the mouth. Also, it's getting dissolved, and they get an effect. Yeah. But by the way, I also want to know that like what we're developing now, it's new because it's become very available for everyone. But like 10 years ago, mostly you already could go to some practitioners. They would have machines with signals of different substances on them, and they could imprint for you like small bottles with sugar beets, and you go home and eat them. Yeah, so like what we're developing is kind of the system, but that become available online for you now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's so cool, because I make a complex for my daughter for sleeping, and I'll write it and I keep it in a bottle for 3 days, and I just give her about 2 to 4 ounces before bed, and it keeps for 3 days, and then I remake it again. So that anytime I work with a client, I say, you can make this ahead of time, so you're not sitting at a computer all day long, like making these ICs throughout the day. You can make them ahead of time and store them. And then that way you have them on hand, just like a normal supplement, only now you're not having all these bottles and tinctures and stuff. You can just have different waters hanging out. Plus you get more hydrated. And I'm assuming it's okay, since you mentioned putting minerals in the tinctures, is it okay to add electrolytes to our water when let's say we've imprinted our water, we put it in our water bottle to go for the day. Can we add things like, electrolytes or branch chain amino acids or anything like that to it?
Yes, you can add those things. We recommend to like preparing the water, like adding different things into it first, and then do the imprinting. So like, yeah, don't change anything, don't add anything more to water after you did imprinting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Yes.
before, yes, it's good.
So I'll start doing that because I always add my electrolytes after. And of course, there are electrolyte ICs. You can just put your electrolytes right in through the frequency too. So sometimes I do that as well. So that's good information. Now, lastly, this new IC pad that you developed, because I had the older one and now I have the newer one. It has to where you plug it into your computer, but it also has Bluetooth. And so when I received it in the mail, I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to have Bluetooth emitting. Is that going to affect the frequency of the water? And so I had emailed you and you said Bluetooth has a different frequency. And so it won't affect the water. Plus, you could turn the Bluetooth off. So I want people to know that when and if they order this device, there is a way to turn the Bluetooth off. Yeah.
Yes. At the beginning, we put two options to connect to your phone. It still has a audio cable option that you connect to your phone, to your computer. And another thing is Bluetooth, so you can connect wirelessly to your phone or to your computer. If, like, first of all, the Bluetooth itself that we selected, the Bluetooth model selected for this device is, like, from what we tested, it doesn't emit much, like, signal.
Okay.
It's very low of intensity. We were comparing it to like some earbuds that people like Apple, Google, like, I don't know, it's cheaper ones. Those ones actually usually, from what I saw, like even exceeding the amount of emission that's recommended by WHO.
Absolutely.
But also, yeah, when we measure it, the signal coming from the IC pad, from the Bluetooth when it's working, or even like not working, because those earbuds emitting even if you don't use them, just if you don't listen to anything, just have them in your ears, they still will be emitting the signal. But the signal emitted from our device, we couldn't distinguish it from just surrounding level. So you have device working, it shows like some level of EMF around it, and when you put our device, which is working near that measuring device, that measurements levels do not change. It actually even went a little bit down.
Okay,
with
good.
it. But anyways, yes, so people who don't like Bluetooth and maybe sensitive to Bluetooth, you can always turn it off. So while device is on, you can hold the button for 10 seconds. It will flash red several times. And then you release the button, it will turn off. Then you turn on again. And if you go to your phone and try to search for devices, you're not going to find the glowing pad, because Bluetooth completely turned off there. You can turn on back later if you need it by doing the same procedure. When device is on, holding the power button for 10 seconds and it will turn on.
Yeah, I can see why people might need the Bluetooth, because if they're specifically using their phone, they're going to, maybe not have an audio port to put in the audio cable. So maybe they'll need the Bluetooth. So I can see the benefit of it. But for somebody like me, as soon as I'm around Bluetooth, I get like Bluetooth headaches and I get tinnitus. I hear ringing in my ears, which is frequency that I'm hearing from it. So I like the option of being able to turn it off, or like you can just use it with your phone and then turn the device off and there's no Bluetooth emitting anymore. So I like that it has that option, and I appreciate that you guys put that in there. You've kind of thought of everything. We've got the red light, we've got like the ability to imprint water without having the frequency of Bluetooth if we don't want it. And so I really think that you've done a great service here. So now, where can people go? I'm going to have the links in the show notes, but if they want to learn more about you, and you are super great at, like, if somebody has a question on infopathy.com, when they message, it pretty much goes to you, and you are always quick to answer emails. So your customer service is like spot on. So I just wanted to mention that when people go and purchase one of these, don't think that you're not going to get a response very quickly from this company if you have any issues whatsoever. But where can they learn more about you and the IC itself, the glowing IC pad?
Yeah, so our website is infopathy.com, and first we recommend to go into the help section. It has a lot of information about what is ICs, how to get started, information about different devices, how to use them. And yes, the current glowing pad is the latest what we developed, and previous one was developed almost 5 years ago. So it's includes 5 years of thoughts and improvements and requests that people wanted. So we put everything inside here, and yes, and every page of the IC will also have a comment section. If you maybe don't know how to use it or need some suggestion, you can always post your comment there. We'll be answering that. Plus, we developed like recently, I think, since last time we spoke, we didn't have that. We developed the community like functionality on the page, so where people will see other people's questions, people's experiences they share there. They will appear there, and they can ask questions. The community, we're always there to answer those questions. Plus, it's always nice to have experienced users with different things that they try to like on working on. They will maybe have the same like issue that you, and they will also give their suggestions. And always, yes, people can email us at support@infopathy.com, and we'll be answering.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, wonderful customer service, which makes a big difference in today's world. It's nice to talk to an actual human when you're dealing with a product. So I appreciate that about you. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time, Anton. This has been great. I hope people will look into this. Like I said, I'm so passionate about this because it really takes the guesswork out of supplements, and knowing if it's safe for you to take, you can try it in your water and understand how it works with your body. So it's wonderful. You can put the device on your body and have even this pulsed EMF therapy in your own home. So I just really value this device. Keep up the good work, and I look
Thank you very
forward
much.
to having you on again soon.
What would it feel like to have virtually every supplement known to man at your fingertips? And what if you only had to drink water to get it in? I firmly believe in something called frequency. It's what you feel when you touch a rock that's warmed by the sun. That warmth is frequency. It's how your text message gets to your friend's phone thousands of miles away. It travels on frequency. It's lightning. When the lightning hits the earth, it adds electrons to the earth, and that's how we ground. It's wind, it's brainwaves, it's microwaves. Everything has frequency. And now you can write frequencies into your water, since water holds frequencies. So imagine if each supplement has its own frequency and you write that into water. You can literally have any supplement, any peptide, any bioidentical hormone in your water. Listen to a podcast I did with a guy named Anton Fedorenko, a leading expert on frequency, and then visit my link in the show notes to Infopathy, or Infoceuticals, which is a way to infuse your water with the frequency of any substance or supplement that you want. Like I said, even peptides, without ever spending a penny on them. Check out the show notes for a link to Infopathy and a special discount code just for my listeners.
Trouble sleeping? Gut issues? Do you know your thyroid is off, but your doctor won't do anything about it? Symptoms don't lie. If you feel like you don't feel good, then something is off. Listen to that inner knowing and reach out. That's what I'm here for, to help guide you towards what's going on at the root of your issues and get them resolved. Bring back your vitality, your energy, your happiness, and get that body you've always wanted with nutrition and lifestyle therapy. I approach it from a very bio-individual way, and each consult is unique to you, where I get to know you and what your body needs. Rates are affordable with different options depending on what you need and what you can afford. No two people are alike, and none of their lifestyles are alike, so I don't approach any consultation the same as another. You are as unique as your fingerprint, so let's get to the bottom of what your body needs and get you looking and feeling as awesome as I know you are. To get started with a free 15-minute discovery call, email me at getfitwithjodelle@gmail.com. That's GETFIT with Jodelle, JODELLE @gmail.com.